Today on the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement.
We're going to discuss why nervous retirees are too afraid to spend their money in retirement.
And on the Coach's Corner, we're going to discuss pension buyouts and why companies are starting to offer them.
And on our strategy play segment today, we're going to show you an example of whether a pension buyout is or is not right for you.
So sit back, relax, and learn. The Chad Slagle Show starts now.
I'm Chad Slagle. I believe financial planning is about educating people and empowering them to make better decisions with their hard-earned dollars. Coaching gives me satisfaction from watching a player succeed and get better. You need an experienced team around you. The best coaches have great assistant coaches. I have brought a lot of the techniques and structure I learned from playing and coaching football and applied them to the world of investing. My goal now is to coach as many individuals and families as I can on how to get successfully to and through retirement.
Welcome into the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. I'm Wendy Erickson here with the coach, Chad Slagle. Today on the Clipboard segment, we're going to discuss why nervous retirees, maybe some of you out there, are too afraid to spend your money in retirement.
That's right, Wendy. We often see pre-retirees and retirees come into our office and they are too afraid to spend their money in retirement that they've worked so hard to build. And really, the number one thing we tell our clients is to spend your money. You can't take it with you. You've worked a lifetime to get to retirement. Go out there, live those dreams, and do those things you've always wanted to do. However, sometimes it makes sense why retirees are afraid to spend that money in retirement because there's so much uncertainty out there, such as investment returns, volatility in the market, medical costs, longevity. We're all living longer. And the reason most of you don't spend money in retirement because you're worried about running out of money. And we have no idea how long we're going to live, and you don't know what you could suddenly get sick, unfortunately. In other words, most retirees and pre-retirees today do not have a game plan for retirement. A lot of people we talk to on a daily basis do not have that income stream coming in that they are certain will last throughout the rest of their life, no matter how long that they live. And unfortunately, the money that is not being spent becomes trillions and trillions of wealth that is not benefiting anyone other than the asset managers who are managing that money and drawing fees off of those accounts.
You know, I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I could say that I know what the rest of my life is going to be like in terms of health or what's going to happen to my family. And then you could really plan. You could plan for having enough money in retirement. But let's face it, we're all nervous about what we're doing. Are we doing the right thing? Are we saving enough? And that's not a good feeling for a lot of people.
It's not a good feeling, and sometimes I think it's a catch-22. I think it'd be cool to have a crystal ball, but I'm kind of glad I don't have a crystal ball as well.
That is very true.
And what we talked about earlier, the biggest thing we want everyone to understand is you have to have a plan when it comes to retirement. And we often talk on the show about pensions and having that income stream you can never outlive. And unfortunately today, more and more retirees do not have a pension. So what we're going to talk about today are what's called pension buyouts. A lot of you who are retired or getting ready to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, you have the option through work to either take a pension or to take a pension buyout. And that's what we're going to jump in and talk about today. What is the right step for you and your family to take?
And get a plan in order and have the options, which is what you do here on the show, is talk about the options.
Absolutely.
Out there. All right. Well, when we return on the Coach's Corner, we are going to discuss pension buyouts and why companies are starting to offer them. We'll be right back.
The number one concern of retirees today is outliving their hard-earned dollars. It is more important now than ever to educate and empower yourself to make better decisions with your monies that it has taken you 30 to 40 years to accumulate. How do you do this? By using our Financial GPS, our guided planning system. This is a 4-step process to help get you successfully to and through retirement. The first step in this process is to create clarity. Here we will help identify your goals as well as your concerns and identify what you want to accomplish in retirement. The second step, we will analyze the risk you're taking with your current portfolio, and this step will also identify exactly what you are paying in fees. In the third step, we will evaluate and assess your current plan and help identify the gap between the missing pieces. And in the fourth and final step,
This is where we will work together to implement a plan of action to accomplish your retirement goals. And this process can take place at any one of our convenient locations in Missouri and in Illinois. So call now to get set up on that right path on your journey through retirement.
Welcome back into the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. We are back with the coach, Chad Slagle, and his colleague, Chad Tobin. And today on the Coach's Corner, we're going to discuss pension buyouts and why companies are starting to offer them.
Many of you today that retired with a pension are starting to receive letters in the mail from your previous employer. And they have an extraordinary proposal for you. Rather than the monthly pensions that you thought you were going to get each and every month in retirement, or that you are getting right now what they want to do is to offer to pay you a hefty lump sum to buy out your pension. And initially you may be puzzled why the company that you once worked for is so interested in buying out your pension. Well, there are multiple reasons, and we will get into those today. But according to Milliman 100 Pension Funding Index, or the PFI, as of 2018, the 100 largest corporate defined benefit pension plans funding status dropped by over $16 billion. So there are some question marks around pensions today, and there's a reason why many companies are completely doing away with pensions. And instead of employers now, what is happening instead of a pension, they're offering you 401ks and other company plans for your retirement.
Well, and I think, Chad, we always talk about, you have to take care of yourself and not depend on somebody else, whether it's the government or now, as we're talking about, many of these pensions may be changing as well. So, early on, you've got to start taking care of yourself, put a plan together, and now know your options if you are after this pension buyout.
All right, so let's discuss why they're offering these pension buyouts. What's the first reason?
Well, first of all, as we know, interest rates are at all-time low, so we have low interest rates, and many pensions anticipated that interest rates would be higher and that the money in the pension fund would be growing at a faster pace. However, interest rates, again, are at all-time lows and continue to stay down. Also, a lot of the pension funds invest in equities and bonds, just like you might in your 401k or company plans. So, of course, there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know if the market's going up or down. So that's why you see these huge billion-dollar losses in these pension funds.
Well, and a lot of times, you have some of these projections of how performance is going to be. And, if you compound that every year and expect those kind of performances each and every year in these pension funds, and you have 1 or 2 years where you don't get that performance and the expectations are lower, that's what we're starting to see. And so, we're going to dig into more and more of the information, but understanding some of these things that really are affecting these funds.
All right, so the low interest rate is our number one reason. So what's another reason they're offering these buyouts?
Another one, of course, is we're all living longer. With the life expectancies, as we all know, people are living longer today because of medical advances, changes in health and safety, etc. And this is great that for people that are living longer, we all want to live longer, have a longer, healthy life, but it means extra years of monthly payments that the pension folks did not count on. And that's a huge problem that we see today. People are living into their 90s and 100s, and these are things, when these pension funds were started, these pension managers really didn't plan on us living this long.
Well, and I think, Chad, we always ask, in our workshops, how long is your pension going to pay? And, everybody pretty much knows it's going to pay until they pass away. And whether you're living to be age 80 or age 100, as you just mentioned. So, understanding that longevity is putting a lot of pressure on these pension funds.
You say there's even another reason.
Well, number 3 would be liability. Liability, just like it sounds, companies no longer want to be liable for these pensions that they offer to their employees anymore. Now if they can take that lump sum buyout, that gives the company the option to get out of the monthly pension for life and no longer have to be liable for you, the employee. In other words, they want to wash their hands, be done with it, say, hey, here's a lump sum. I hope it lasts throughout the rest of your life, but now we're done with it.
Well, and as we're seeing, obviously today, we call it a pensionless society today. So most employers don't even have that pension option available. They have that 401k, that company plan, and they're going to allow you to participate in, but they don't even have that pension option like, many employees 10, 15, 20 years ago did.
Okay, so if you do have a pension and you don't go for some sort of a buyout, are you guaranteed that your pension will be there?
That's the other big concern for a lot of retirees. And what it's called PBGC. Private pension plans are at least partially insured by the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, a government agency established in 1974 by the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, or ERISA. And the PBGC can only pay a maximum benefit of about $60,000 per year and does not guarantee it will pay the full benefits promised to a retiree by their employer. In 2015, the agency's deficit was $76 billion, and it had about twice as many liabilities as it did assets. So that's the other problem, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Should you take your pension or should you take the monthly payout? And it's all about really protecting yourself.
Yeah, and I think we've always seen, especially in the last 5 years, a lot of clients come in and they have this option. And one thing we've listened to is they just have concerns with that company that's going to be offering their pension and standing behind that. So we're starting to see more and more of concerns with even employees and those pension funds.
And that is why a lot of us are nervous.
Yes.
All right. Well, we have more information for you. To download our free white paper today about building a roadmap to retirement, visit slagelfinancial.com/empoweryou. Coming up on Chalk Talk, we're going to discuss whether the lump sum or monthly payout option is right for you. Stay with us.
Let's go.
He's such an involved dad. He's always telling the kids stories. I remember when so-and-so said I couldn't do this or I didn't make this team. That's what drives him. In our family, we always tell our kids to stick up for each other, stand behind one another. He feels it's his role to provide, keep us safe, and to make sure that the kids are taken care of. A lot of Chad's clients have the same traditional values, and he bonds with them. Each family has a different set of circumstances, and each family is unique and different. The common thread between all of Chad's clients is that they want the best for their family, just as he would our own family.
Welcome back into the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. So we just discussed pension buyouts and why companies are starting to offer them. Now we want to talk about which option is right for you, taking the lump sum or monthly payout.
That's right, Wendy. So until Notice 2019-18 was published on March 6, 2019, the IRS prohibited companies from offering buyouts to former employees who had already started receiving their pensions. However, the new notice states that the IRS will no longer issue guidelines prohibiting companies from offering buyouts to retirees who are receiving their pensions now. So now many companies are trying to offer these pension buyouts. And many retirees are uncertain of exactly what they should do, what is best for them and their family. So we thought it'd be a great topic today to discuss and help you figure out which option is right for you and your family, and really what's the best also for the future of your beneficiaries as well, Chad.
Well, and I think the important thing is everyone's situation is going to be different. Sitting down and looking at this choice, and so everyone's family is different. Your income needs are different. If you want to leave money to the family and loved ones, so understand that it's not cookie cutter. Every decision needs to be made on your own personal situation.
All right, so I'm kind of in this category. I have a pension coming to me, so I want to know what's
Hope
the
it
first.
lasts, right?
Yeah, hope it lasts. That's the first thing. But now I want the information here. So if this comes to be an option for me, deciding between the lump sum or monthly payout option, what's the first step that you would take?
So the first step, of course, is with anything, you have to educate yourself. As simple as that sounds, one of the most important things an advisor can do is provide you with facts so you can make your own decision. You know, if you sit down with an advisor or a financial planner and you're trying to make this decision, if they simply tell you what you need to do or try to dictate to you, that's not their job. Their job is to educate you. You take the pros and cons, weigh those out, and make what's best for you. But again, if they're trying to guide you in a certain direction, that's not the guy or gal that you want to be working with. But understand, once you make this decision, either to take the buyout or to take that monthly payout, it is irrevocable. You cannot change it.
Well, and I think many people, like you just mentioned, Chad, want to just make that immediate decision. They think it's a pretty easy decision, and sometimes it could be, but really, you need to take some time and educate yourself, as we just talked about, and understand the pros and cons to each side of the decision.
All right, so what would be the next step?
The next step is to evaluate your goals in retirement. And what does retirement look like for you? What kind of goals do you have for your retirement? And a great way to give yourself a more clear answer is by asking some questions. And if you're sitting at home today, I encourage you to get out a pen and write some of these down, because in my opinion, you need to have the answers to these questions. So number one, do I have an emergency fund in case of the unexpected? With a pension, there's no emergency money. Basically, what you're getting every month is what you're going to get. As I mentioned earlier, once you set it up, it is irrevocable. You cannot change it, which is just that monthly income. Number two, do I care what is left behind for my spouse, children, or beneficiaries? And you need to understand, with a pension, it does not get passed on to your beneficiaries other than your spouse. So if you pass away, you're getting that monthly income, your spouse is getting that monthly income if you set it up properly, but when both of you are gone, nothing goes, most cases, nothing goes to your beneficiaries. And the other thing is, do I need that income now or later? And with the pension, you receive a monthly income as soon as you retire, but you cannot wait and put that, but you can now wait, put that lump sum into something that can grow for a few years, Chad.
Yeah, and I think, as you mentioned, how long will I live is that fourth question that you have to ask yourself. And, no one really knows how long we're going to live. If you take the lump sum, would you rather put that in the market or maybe have a maybe income plan, or put that in something other that offers you some kind of lifetime income? And I think it's important, when you do make these decisions, you answer these questions, you want an apples for apples comparison and not necessarily an apples for oranges comparison.
And I would say, when we sit down with somebody today that has that option of a buyout or a lump sum or that monthly payout, I would say 90% of the time it makes more sense to go ahead and take the buyout, take that lump sum, because if you can take that lump sum, use the interest off of that lump sum to live off of and come close, maybe not all the way, but come close to that monthly payout, then you want to do that. However, it's 10% of the time that we see it's a no-brainer. You want to take that monthly payout. It doesn't come close over a 20 or 25 year period to touching that lump sum. So there's not a right or wrong answer. It all depends on you, and these are the questions in my mind that you really want to make sure that you have clear answers to.
Well, and I really like your last point, which is don't go it alone.
Absolutely. Do not make this decision alone. As I mentioned earlier, Wendy, when you set this up, it is irrevocable. You have to weigh everything out. Work with an advisor that you trust, that has your best interest first, that has dealt with this with other retirees in your situation, that can help you make sure that you're making the right decision. So once it's made, it's set up, it gives you peace of mind, and you don't have to worry about going forward. And again, you can enjoy retirement, not be nervous about it.
Well, and I think, if you are going to take that lump sum, we talk about having a retirement income plan in place that you know exactly how that monthly income is going to come to you and for how long it's going to come to you. So just know those and make that advisor work for you and really explore your retirement needs.
And I think the other thing you mentioned, Chad, you can't compare apples and oranges. Understand, if you take that lump sum and you invest that money in the market, it may, or when you put 100% in the market where it's at risk if the market goes up, if the market goes down, understand that money may or may not last throughout the rest of your life. Why? Number one, we have no idea if the market's going to go up or down. And number two, you have no idea how long you're going to live. Where if you do take that monthly payout, again, it's backed by the PBGC, that money's going to come in each and every month for the rest of your life and the rest of your spouse's life if you set it up properly, no matter how long either one of you lives. So again, make sure you're comparing apples for apples, not apples and oranges.
All right, some good information. And to download our free white paper today about building a roadmap to retirement, visit slagelfinancial.com/empoweryou. When we come back on our strategy play, the Chads are going to show you an example of whether a pension buyout is or is not right for you.
The number one concern of retirees today is outliving their hard-earned dollars. It is more important now than ever to educate and empower yourself to make better decisions with your monies that it has taken you 30 to 40 years to accumulate. How do you do this? By using our Financial GPS, our guided planning system. This is a 4-step process to help get you successfully to and through retirement. The first step in this process is to create clarity. Here we will help identify your goals as well as your concerns and identify what you want to accomplish in retirement. The second step, we will analyze the risk you're taking with your current portfolio, and this step will also identify exactly what you are paying in fees. In the third step, we will evaluate and assess your current plan and help identify the gap between the missing pieces. And in the fourth and final step, this is where we will work together to implement a plan of action to accomplish your retirement goals. And this process can take place at any one of our convenient locations in Missouri and in Illinois. So call now to get set up on that right path on your journey through retirement. Welcome back to the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. On this week's strategy play, we're going to show you an example of whether a pension buyout is or is not right for you.
You know, Chad, I think, through this show, hopefully some people have kind of seen there isn't a cookie cutter approach to this decision, but you've got to educate yourself. And here's some important things to look at and some questions you have to know.
So if we take a look here at the board, we have lump sum versus a pension payout. So let's say the monthly pension, you have two options, of course. Either you're going to take 100% for yourself, or you're also going to make sure that if something happens to you, your spouse is going to be taken care of as well. So if we take a look at this, if you're offered as a single life payout just for you, just you, the employee, it would be $2,500 a month. But if you take just a little less, it's going to be a joint payout. In other words, it's going to pay $2,000 a month to you. And oh, by the way, if you pass away, $2,000 goes to your spouse as well. So what that comes up to, Chad, over a 25-year period, at $24,000 a year, hopefully you do the right thing and take the joint payout, that would be over $600,000 is what we'd be looking at.
Yeah, and I think, a couple things we look at here. Husband and wife, 60, 65 years of age, they have this decision to make, number one. That's your first decision, if we're going to take this pension. But we also have to think, if we live 10 years and something were to happen and both of the spouses pass away, any of this money, none of that goes as passed on to any children, grandchildren, charities, churches. So, a lot of times we see that's a big deal and a big part of the decision making if we aren't going to take this pension, and maybe we lean more towards the lump sum.
Yeah, and again, Chad, you don't know if it's going to be 5 years, 25 years, or 30 years. We hope you all live to be 25, 30 years down the road, but you never know. So it's about take control of that money. So really that lump sum, what should that number be? 30,000 foot view, just rough numbers. If they're offering you 500,000 or more, you probably want to take the lump sum. But again, it's not cookie cutter. There's a lot of variables you have to take into consideration. Do you have an emergency fund? Where if you're just getting a monthly payout and you need extra money for an emergency, where is that money going to come from? Number two, will be left behind, and that's what you just talked about, Chad. Do I need income now or later? In other words, when you retire now, if you don't need that pension, maybe you take that lump sum, invest it, let that grow, and you have an even higher payout when the time comes that you do need it. And of course, how long will you live? As Wendy mentioned earlier on the show, none of us have a crystal ball. We don't know how long that money is going to live. That's why you want to make sure that you answer these questions, plan properly, and hopefully have someone to guide you down that path, Chad.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned earlier, there is some times where these numbers, it's a no-brainer. You have to take that pension. The numbers just don't work. But most of the time we see, these numbers are pretty close to where, if you have that family and you want to take care of your spouse and you build that retirement income plan, many people may not need that income in that first year or 2 years, but maybe, it gives you some time, it gives you a little extra emergency fund, and also if something were to happen early, that money is going to be passed on to your family. As we mentioned, we're also living longer. So just making sure if you take that lump sum, you've got to have a plan in place.
That's right. Are you offered a pension buyout and maybe need help making the right decision? Or do you just need help coming up with a game plan to get you successfully to and through retirement? If so, we encourage you to give us a call today, and that's this week's Strategy Play.
If you have any questions about today's show, or if you'd like for us to discuss a new topic, email us at askchad@slaglefinancial.com to have your questions answered on the show. We'll be right back with some of the key takeaways from today.
Coach Chad Slagle and join.
I'll be with you guys in just a few minutes.
When it comes to your health, your life, your family, your home, and your hard-earned dollars, of course you want to make sure you're working with that sharp, energetic, knowledgeable individual that is always looking out for your best interest.
Such short notice. Appreciate it. Thanks.
It's time to get your financial house in order. This is the new age of retirement planning.
In the Wall Street world, that's what they talk about. You got to have equity.
Back into the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. We are Slagle Financial. Call now, 888-294-9248.
Welcome back one more time to the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement. We have covered a lot of ground today. What would you say are some of the key takeaways, Chad?
Number one, Wendy, build a game plan for retirement so you are not afraid to enjoy it. Don't be nervous when it comes to retirement because, again, as we tell all of our clients, you can't take this money with you. Make sure you build a game plan and live a happy, healthy retirement. Number two, make sure you have an income stream coming in that lasts throughout the rest of your life, not to just a certain age or to your life expectancy. And number three, weigh out the pros and cons on whether a pension buyout is or is not right for you and your family. And understand, once you set that up, it is irrevocable. You cannot change it. So make sure you do your homework and weigh out those pros and cons and make the right decision.
Good advice. To download our free white paper today about building a roadmap to retirement, visit slaglefinancial.com/empoweryou. And Slagle Financial and their team of advisors have educational events coming up in your area to make sure you are prepared for today's retirement. For more information and to sign up for one of these events, call 888-294-9248 or visit chadslagleshow.com.
Remember, folks, success is waking up in the morning, whoever you are, wherever you are, no matter how old or young you are, and bounding out of bed because there's something out there that you love to do, that you believe in, that you're good at, and you can hardly wait to get at it again today. At Slagle Financial, realize that this is bigger than our team. It's about educating you, the public, and our wonderful clients, and empowering you to make better decisions with your hard-earned dollars. For my colleague, Chad Tobin, for my co-host, Wendy Erickson, this is the coach, Chad Slagle. Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to visiting with each and every one of you next week.
Clothing for the Chad Slagle Show is provided by AL Custom Clothiers, a custom men's clothier that understands the value of offering our customers the best for less. ALCustomClothiers.com or 314-570-6000.
The number one concern of retirees today is outliving their hard-earned dollars. It is more important now than ever to educate and empower yourself to make better decisions with your monies that it has taken you 30 to 40 years to accumulate. How do you do this? By using our Financial GPS, our guided planning system. This is a 4-step process to help get you successfully to and through retirement. The first step in this process is to create clarity. Here we will help identify your goals as well as your concerns and identify what you want to accomplish in retirement. The second step, we will analyze the risk you're taking with your current portfolio, and this step will also identify exactly what you are paying in fees. In the third step, we will evaluate and assess your current plan and help identify the gap between the missing pieces. And in the fourth and final step, this is where we will work together to implement a plan of action to accomplish your retirement goals. And this process can take place at any one of our convenient locations in Missouri and in Illinois. So call now to get set up on that right path on your journey through retirement.